Did you know that when parents are asked what they would do if they had 1 extra hour every day, most parents say they would use it for sleep? Are you exhausted trying to balance kids, work, and play? Do you want more purpose and less monotony in your life? Do you get overly irritated, frustrated, and angry with your children? If you've answered yes to some of these questions, then I'm glad you're here. I know how busy you are, and I'm not here to take your time. I'm here to help you take it back. Close your windows, open your mind, and let's kick some ass. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kick-Ass Dad, Passionate Parenting in a Volatile World. And I've got just an amazing dude. His name is Brandon Acosta, is with us today. And Brandon is a kick-ass dad. He's got huge plans, big ideas, and I spoke with him yesterday, and he just absolutely inspired me. And one of the first things he mentioned to me was that he really feels like men just do not have enough resources when it comes to parenting. So his big idea is to start a magazine for dads, by dads, and his vision is to showcase the great contributions that dads can make to the family unit and in turn to their communities. He's, in my opinion, a visionary, and he's reframing the question of how dads fit in to the family and how we can begin to better understand how to help men. He believes that we really got to bring the light to where we are here and now as fathers, and that men are just at a huge disadvantage when it comes to the resources out there. So Brandon, from what we discussed yesterday and what I've seen of your work, you really feel that I think the first step is men need to admit we don't know it all and begin seeking the support of other people.
Absolutely. A lot of times over the course of our upbringing, we just beat our chest and we think that things get done, and oftentimes that's the case. But there's a genteel side, I guess. There's another side that makes that family dynamic so great. That it takes both sides. It takes that village concept and to really raise the kids right.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I talk about that a lot on the show of how important it is to the responsibility of community in raising the kids, and it's not just one man's responsibility or woman for that matter, obviously. So Brandon, I'd love for you to kind of take us through your journey, where you grew up. What was your childhood like?
I grew up from New York, the city, Upper East Side, Manhattan, and grew up there and between there and then down here in Florida. Kind of in a underrepresented, we'll say, communities. Just not quite the best environment for anybody really, let alone kid from a single mother, and I'm the oldest of four. So at the time it was just me, but my mother's relatively young and just didn't have that father dynamic there. So growing up in that environment, you kind of wonder how, as you get older, it doesn't really dawn on you until you get a little older, and you've graduated college first in your family, and then you've gone on to do other things that you would like to have shared with someone. How it really affects you, or you like to think that if maybe if the father was around, that you could have done more. Maybe you could have been worse off. Who knows? But you definitely miss out on something.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that absent fathers in our society plays a huge role in. And obviously, you are the kind of man that didn't allow yourself to just dwell on what you didn't have. You chose to get out and create something for yourself and something for your life, and that's something that is so important to teach kids who don't have fathers present. But it's like, how much more could these kids be if they had that strong male role model in their lives? What are your thoughts on that?
It's a necessity. Oftentimes you hear, and especially it's funny, you hear it around Father's Day. You always hear about single moms, touting how they've had to play both roles, and I'm a firm believer that doesn't exist. I mean, there are strong mothers out there, don't get me wrong, strong single mothers, and it doesn't take anything away from what they've been able to accomplish with the resources that they've been given. But there's no substitute for a father. I've lived that growing up, and then now that I am a father myself, I could see the impact that it has on my little girl, and there's just no substitute. it's invaluable the what dads give to their families and then in turn their communities. Uh, Whether it be showing your kid that you can take a chance, encouraging them, chances are okay so long as you think them through. And that's kind of what our thing is, right? We think analytically, we think things through, and that's just our thing. So teaching our kids that is huge.
I got goosebumps just hearing you say that. I couldn't agree more, man. What industry were you in? I know you recognized that there were no resources out. What were you doing, and what were you thinking when this kind of dawned on you that men just don't have the resources available to be great dudes, great men?
I was panicking because I was having my first kids. No, my background, I was at the time, I flew in the military, flew aircraft in the military, and I was just transitioning out of the military, going to the commercial airline field, and I was going through training. I was up in New York, and I was just kind of sitting there, and all this stuff was happening. All this change was happening in my life with the birth of a child, changing career, just a lot of things going on, and I was just looking for something, hungry, just like give me something, because and again, it goes back to this handing down of information from grandfather to father, father to son, that just didn't happen in my family. And it doesn't happen in a lot of families. It's just this new generation coming up. So there was nothing there given to me. There was nothing there. So I'm sitting here in front of this. Probably it actually is one of the biggest newsstands in New York, and there was nothing there. I mean, I went to Men's Interest. All you saw were boobs and biceps, and then you see cars and motorcycles. Which, don't get me wrong, I love it all. I'm a personal trainer myself, so I dig it. But at that time, I was looking for something a little bit more. So I didn't find. I found like two magazines. One was a pamphlet on granddad and me, or something like that, something crazy. And I was like, you know what? If there's nothing out there, I know there's information out there, and I know guys want to talk. I know guys want to discuss these things, because I've had it before with family members. They just we just start talking, and then of course it leads to football. We just can't stay on it. But so I know there's guys out there, whether you're a single dad, married, grandfathers, old, young. I know there's men out there that are looking for that were looking for the same thing. So I figured I'll just do it myself.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you. My audience probably at this point knows exactly what my BHAG is, my big, hairy, audacious goal, and it's to create community centers in the inner city that we can begin to leverage music, art, dance, literature, and really give kids back what society has taken away from the most marginalized and disenfranchised youth in the country. And I know you're working on your magazine, and I love your passion. And I think you're gonna be very successful at that. But do you have a bigger BHAG? What's your big, hairy, audacious goal?
Basically, to showcase dads in the best way that I know, and I guess showcase the dads and just the men that they are, that wear that badge, because that's something that's earned. You don't just you have a kid and then all of a sudden you're dad. You really got to earn that hey dad, or that dad badge, and just showcase what they've done, the things that they're able to accomplish in our communities, and then in turn, if you find the kids that don't quite have that dynamic, help them out too. I have a youth program that I've been a coach, wrestling coach, and various coaches throughout my history, I guess, short history here, and just understanding these kids and understanding what they need is huge, which kind of spurred me getting into ACE camps, which are aviation career education. So me and a buddy came together. We started basically most kids that don't have that.
I'm so sorry. I think I lost you there for a second. So you said go back to your aviation camp?
Yeah, it's ACE camp, aviation career education. And we basically showcase what aviation, the different jobs in aviation there are to these, underrepresented communities. They're kids that don't necessarily have that father dynamic. Some do, and they just still don't know what's out there for them. So we're there to say, hey, There's you can be a pilot if you want. I can show you how to get there. You can be air traffic control, which is also a six-figure income. You can be airfield management, which is a master's or PhD degree. And then there's so many other, and those are just three of the things that we focus on. We focus on professional development and showing these kids, hey, how to tie a tie. Some of them don't even know how to do that. And then the network necessities. That it's huge. Creating relationships, understanding each other, and getting this network together that will help you and perpetuate you into a whole new way of thinking, and then potentially get a job. And if you think about it, when you get these six-figure incomes or high five figures, it dramatically changes the economic outlook of their lineage. If you start now, these kids are, unfortunately, they're on assistance or whatever the case may be, and I'm not here to judge that. That's it's necessary sometimes, but if you can get out of that hole and then change the economic outlook of your legacy, if you're making six figures, then your kid learns how to make six figures, then your kid's kids learns how to make that six-figure income, and it just goes on forever. So and if I would have had this program, I wish, at 8, or actually we start about 13, 14 years old. Hell, I'd be an astronaut by now, but which one of my friends actually is an astronaut now. So, but yeah, it's just huge. And that's kind of like my, I guess, big, hairy goal.
Dude,
audacious goal.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. It's funny. A couple of things that you said there just completely resonated with me. One was how it's like an insult to your mom's an astronaut. Like, in school, like why are kids like and Einstein, kids get called Einstein like it's a negative thing, and you're going, what is going on? Like, these are geniuses. Like, why? And the other thing that really resonated with me with what you said was teaching kids how to tie a tie. And it's like, I get kids coming in who are looking for jobs from me, and they're coming in and they're just scruffy and their pants are down, and I'm like, dude, if you want a job, come in here looking like you want a job. Look like you want to work. Don't come in here and, just portray yourself as somebody who feels like, it doesn't matter how they present themselves to another human being, because
absolutely
it does matter. And I believe that if they're going to be successful, they need mentors. And I think that you're probably right. It's probably a kid who either their dad isn't present or they don't have a dad at all. And I think that's so sad.
I had to learn that kind of the hard way. I had a big chip on my shoulder when I was young. I got in a little trouble and used to, get in fights here and there. But it was that chip. It was that, and now that I'm older, I realize where that chip came from, and I just had to learn those things. So it resonates very well. And with the kids, you sit there. Even there's a program I'm involved with too up in Jacksonville. It's Save Our Sons, Save Our Fathers, and it's kind of those things. It is funny that the same things that I administer to the kids with the group that I'm with, it's not just me, through the United Way, we do the same thing with the fathers. The fathers, it's amazing how fathers, these are grown men that don't know how to tie a tie or don't know how to, and again, it goes back to that, how do we get the grandfather to teach the father to teach the son, and it was just amazing. And I had to take a step back. It's like, wow, this is huge. Like, these fathers would like to better themselves, but they're still stuck in that rut, and they don't know how to tie the tie. And I know that it's a euphemism or symbol for something that's greater, but it is that's the reality of the situation, and it blew my mind. How the kid was saying, "Well, my dad doesn't know how to do this." I'm like, wow. So then we have the fathers come in. We have a completely different session, and we sit there and talk about single parenting. What it is to be a father, what it is to be a single dad, and the whole 9 yards. And it's pretty enlightening.
Wow, that's awesome, dude. You're doing great work. And what I love about you is that you're getting out there in the community. You're making an impact. A lot of times people get into like this analysis paralysis, where they're like, yeah, something needs to be done, but somebody should do it. I think it's a great idea if somebody did it. But you're like out there getting your hands dirty, and I think that's the great work. And we have to realize that if we're gonna do these things, like, you've got to do something. And even if you screwed up, it's like at least you're doing something, and then you learn.
Absolutely.
You learn something, and then you move on, dude. Thank you so much for what you're doing. It's powerful to hear your message, and I truly believe that you got some depth there, and I love it, man. Thank you so much for what you're doing every day. I've found in my life that success so oftentimes, and great mentalities and great strength in oneself, comes from big failures or big flops, and I've had a ton of those. I like you have done some very stupid things and some very unhealthy things for myself, my family, my body, and it took a lot of failure for me to rise up from that. What was your failure, or what was your like thing that just kind of woke you up?
The things that resonates with me. I was pretty headstrong. I thought I knew it all. I guess I still do sometimes. That's one of my I guess things I need to work on. But wow, my biggest failure that still resonates so strong with me is denying my own talents, and not because I didn't know what they were. Like, you see them, but then when someone else says, "Hey, you know what? I want you to do this." Someone in authority, told me, "Hey, I want you to do this because I think you're good at this." And I'm thinking to myself, "Okay, I'm good at that, but I want to do this other thing." And so oftentimes these kids, and I see it in them, and it every time, every summer, every youth program or every program we're in, I see there's these onesie twosie kids that you ask them to do something, and you see the talent in them, and whatever it is, whether it be writing or speaking, and they're just good at it, and they just want to deny it, and denying my own talent at a pinnacle point in my life. I was in college, or I look back on that. I was like, man, if I would have just invested in that talent, understood what it was, the God-given talent, understood what it was, and embraced it. I mean, I could have made a business out of it, which I'm doing now. Later in life, I'm like, geez, what an idiot. I should have done this. I should have done this 15 years ago, but I'm doing it now. But I shunned it back then, and it's just that talent and understanding what it is. And if you do understand what it is, and at the time I did, the failure was denying it, not embracing it. And it's served me well throughout my life, really. And it's going to be those things, and it is, and it's up to the parenting, it's up to the mentoring to be able to pinpoint and identify with the youth behind us, the generation behind us, what their talents are, and say, hey, this is what you're good at. Play your role, because in it there's value. There's value in playing your role. And once you understand your value, once you understand your role and where you fit in this big piece, this big puzzle, I mean, you're going to flourish in whatever you're doing. Once you understand that. So that was a huge failure, and it still sticks with me because I see it, keep seeing it. Keep seeing it in these kids, and then the things that I'm doing. It's crazy.
Dude, I'm just gonna hand you the mic, because that's what I talk about on this show, like day after day after day. I'll just hand it to you, and I'll go do something else with my life.
No, you're doing great, man. You kidding me? This is awesome.
Appreciate it. I do appreciate that. Yeah. So, and it's funny because I see that so often, that kids they've got these just enormous talents. How do you you see it in these kids and they don't see it, and they're, because for me, I always, whenever I was good at something, it came easy to me. I'd always be like, oh, it's nothing. It's whatever. And I see all these kids doing that, and people, not just kids, people doing that all the time. They're like, nah, and it's like, nobody can take a freaking compliment ever. And it's like, dude,
I'm the worst at that.
Right. You're like, dude, you're good at it. Embrace it. Take that on, and because I think that a lot of people think because it comes easy to them, that it comes easy to other people, and that's just not the case. It comes easy to me for a reason, because that's my purpose, that's my passion. So I would say that the same for everybody. We all have this purpose, we all have this passion. If we can embrace that and not just write it off as, oh, it's easy. Yeah, it's easy, dude. It's easy for you. So live that truth. I mean, how do you get kids to see that?
You're exactly right. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, that's just a culture we're in, I guess. And what I've learned is that, and it does take some time. It takes some investing in the kid, is showing them how, applicably, showing them how their talents enhance the group. We work in groups a lot of times because that's the way of the world. Very rarely can you just do anything on your own. You have a piece to the larger puzzle, whether it be some sort of project. So we do a lot of project or group project-based activities for the father program and for the kids, and you get to see where they fit in, and then when you see it and what you saw, and they don't quite see it, that's when you bring it to light. Say, hey, you see what you just did there? You took the lead on that. You're a great leader. Or do you see what you just did there? You spoke up. You're able to speak eloquently and get your point across. Or do you see what you did there? You didn't say anything, but you picked up that big rock and moved it over there because you're strong. You're strong in character. You're strong in something. So a lot of times we had to show them where it applies, and then it clicks. Like, oh, so it's almost like seeing a picture. You can tell somebody till you're blue in the face, but they don't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But then when you show them the picture of it, they're like, oh, it's a Picasso. Yeah, and that's you. So it takes some investing and it takes some time, but once you get that, once you realize that they've been able to see their talent, visualize it makes it worth it.
Yeah, no doubt. I uh, I love how you said that, and I really feel that it's like coaching in the moment, and I think that's what mentorship, that's what being a parent is.
Oh yeah.
Because you're not like saying you need to do this or I'm not trying to take my kid and like install them into a job or into the world, because the world's not like that anymore. There's no, you can't just go and operate a lever and like make your make enough money to feed your family anymore. This is an idea based, an innovative culture,
Oh
and
yeah.
that day is dead. And we've got to start looking at our kids in a different way. And I really like how you said, when you see a kid doing something that you can see they're good at and it's their purpose, mention it to them. Hey, did you see what you just did there? And I find
Yeah.
myself doing this to adults. Like,
Oh yeah,
do
definitely.
you see what you just did there? You're good at that. And if father, and I think that's like man, that's just it, isn't it? It's like if you can just see something that your kid is good at and point it out and tell them it's valuable. It's like
Yeah.
that's kind of easy, isn't it?
Yeah, you
Well,
think it's the easiest thing in the world, and that's all it is, But it's being able to recognize it in your kids, spending time and understanding, and being able to show them that in the way that they can see it. Understanding your kid enough to know, hey, this is what it. And I think fathers are great at that. Because again, we think in problem solving concepts, we think in analytically, we think, hey, we think in utilitarian, hey, that's utility. I see that. Okay, the kid is great at that. Let me show him or her why that was great. So I think it's very easy for us to do. We just have to do it.
right. And I almost wonder if the reason it comes easy to us, but I almost think the reason that we don't do it is because we don't value ourselves enough, and we're not happy with who we are. And so oftentimes we'll because our life is crappy, or we're not happy with who we are, then we transfer that to the kid, and that's just like devastation, dude.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's that. We talked about that the other day. That crabs in a barrel mentality. Is we're not lifting each other up, we're pulling each other down because of our own. And I tell you, that's one of the hardest things that I had to overcome, and I still overcome it. Just because I remember, my background and how I grew up. It's very hard not to fall back into those types of habits and that vicious cycle. I've done well. I can toot that horn, but it's not because I've seen the light. It's because I work at it, and I constantly work at it, and I constantly have to be very positive. I got an 8-year-old little girl. I mean, she wants to wear dresses and play tea party. And so I got to constantly be, okay, this is a good thing for her, and it's not just about getting into college, getting the right career. So you got to have that playtime.
So true, brother. What comes easily to you? What's the thing that just like you just like, oh, that's freaking easy, and you're productive in it, and it's just like bam.
Um, Geez, I don't know. Again, I guess this is what we're talking about, right? I guess the what comes easy is my charge, or I guess my dedication to that community piece in any way that I can. And I make mistakes, and I don't do things 100% correctly when it comes to that. But I know that that's like the ultimate vision, and there's things that I've accomplished in my life because of the community that I've been in. So it's incumbent on me to give back to that community, whether it be through the fitness thing, and that's one of those things that's always been easy, that came easy to me. So being a personal trainer, being a mentor, or a coach of some sort, and if I can parlay that into the community, that much better, and being able to get those points across, whether it be on the fitness side or just on the being smarter on how to accomplish your goals when it comes to school and the getting a job and all that stuff. So I like to think that that's what I can bring to the table.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like that's what you're bringing to the table. Kudos for that, for sure. This is one of my favorite questions to ask people, because it's like kind of like, it's kind of idealistic, but it's like, What if you had absolutely no financial constraints? What if there was nothing that you didn't have to go to work, you didn't have to, provide for the family, that was all taken care of? What would you be doing? Where would you be going?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, it's funny, I guess, in my mind, people always ask me, oh, where are you going to go on a vacation? Do you? And because of my job, I mean, I travel around the world all the time. So I have staycations, where I usually do laundry or something like that. But I guess to that end, what I would be doing is probably be here in Orlando. I'd be here trying to get these programs that I think are very necessary up and running. Grant writing. I do some freelance writing on my own. Writing things that can uplift folks and hopefully do, whether it be fiction, nonfiction type of thing, whatever the case may be. But definitely investing in the community and trying to get this community that I feel has given me so much, give back to it, and definitely spend time doing that.
That's badass. I think I just elected you to help me with my BHAG then.
I'm here for you, brother.
Awesome, awesome. How and this is something that I see like every single day. It's like we all have these layers of like negativity from social programming. They're just kind of stuck to us. How do you begin? Because you're a positive guy, and I can see the passion inside you. How do you start to? Because I know it takes time to like pull those layers off. How do you do that for yourself, and how do you do that for help other people do that?
It's tough because from whatever this stuff comes from, whether it be the media, our history, or that crabs in a barrel mentality, or whatever the case may be, we do have to peel back those layers and get to the root and get to the good fruit, the good fruit of who we are. And it just takes connecting. I teach these kids about the 5 R's, and the number one R is relationships. So, turn off the TV, turn off the iPod, the cell phone, and connect with each other and understand what's in your community, who's in your community. Get away from that stop that conditioning process, basically. And I think then you begin to understand that who you are as a person, who that person is, and then again how they fit, where they truly fit in the community, how they can help the best. So it's about, and I know it's hard with this age of technology and connecting virtually and all that. I mean, but again, if you just sit down and try to plug in, you'll be surprised of how much good you can do when you realize where you fit, and how you fit with the group, and you just move the whole community forward. So,
yeah, awesome. I one of the things that really stuck out for me there is that to start to peel back the layers, you gotta stop putting more layers on.
Yeah.
Right. Like so. Stop the massive amounts of like negativity coming at you, because you're never gonna pull it back if you're just still just absorbing all that crap.
Yeah, and you got to kind of let go of a lot of things too, and don't take yourself too seriously, or don't let that past, those layers, those dark layers, those hardened layers, weigh you down, because they don't define you. Oftentimes when I, growing up, I thought that those things defined me, and once I realized that they did, that I can break from that and go a different direction than where all my buddies were going. Unfortunately, I was able to really see the light and get out from underneath that shell. That layer that you're talking about, and that's huge, is understanding that and getting through it, breaking through. Stop putting more on.
It sounds like you had an aha moment. Can you kind of describe what that aha moment was?
It's funny. I guess I grew up in an environment that there were a lot of drugs and teenage pregnancies, and my aha moment when I was, I guess, that young was like, that looks like it hurts. I don't want to go that direction. Maybe I'll try this other thing. And it's funny because, whether it be driven by divinity or fate, I went that other direction, not knowing what is in that other direction. What I did know though, what was in this direction over here, with this pain and sorrow and just this downtrodden, environment where this circle of drugs and having kids at too young of age, not being able to take care of the kids, I knew that did not look right. Something was wrong there. There's a lot of suffering going on there. So this way can't be much worse than that. So let me go this way. And I did, and it worked out. I finished school and started flying in the military, and just got a lot of opportunities just based on going down a track, going down, this track in life that would take me in a direction, and a lot of times you just have to go. You just have to choose something, like we talked about earlier today. Just choose a track, just go down somewhere, and you'll be surprised the doors that open and the things that come of it.
Well said. It's funny because it's like we all have this, like, to me it all comes down to choice, and it's like as at a certain age you just have this break in the road. You have two different paths, and you can take the path of pain, but the pain that you know, or the pain that you don't. You're going to be uncomfortable either way.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to go the way that you know or the way that you don't know? Because being uncomfortable and going the way you don't know is probably going to lead you down a path to get to that success and that feeling of. But it's like that's the choice we're all faced with.
Oh yeah, it was uncomfortable. You're in an environment. I put myself in an environment that was so foreign, and that was very uncomfortable for me. I put myself in an environment that I had to buckle down and rely on myself a lot and my work ethic that I didn't even know I had. That had never been tested. So, do I have a work ethic? Hell, I don't know. But apparently, I'm gonna put it to work. So is putting myself in that uncomfortable. But again, that uncomfortable state was far better than the alternative, the other road that we're talking about. So it worked out.
Dude, yeah. So you're at a point now where you're on the brink of launching your vision. What is it that you need now to take that next step? What's your you're here, you've got this vision. What's the next step for you?
Next step for me, is again just hammering away at this community piece and just getting the name out there and showcasing what we can do as a community of fathers. To that end, that Modern Dad Mag. I mean, it's been huge. It's something I started back in '07, just trying to get that information. Again, my daughter trying to get information out to the dads. I had a buddy come on that he wanted to do a lot of blogging, which is great. Connecting fathers so they can talk, because up until it's an issue, or it's the panic mode, that's when we want to start talking. When we don't have all the answers, we're like, oh, now I've got to look for somebody that has the answers. But I'd like to get before then, learn how to handle something before it gets to that. But so we're always in damage control. So to that end, I mean, get my magazine together, online magazine, and start over again. Basically, we took it down and wanted to revamp it, and get back to the root of what we're trying to do, and really impact fathers of every level.
I like how you said, we're all looking for like answers, but it's not going to be like this one person who's got the answers. It's like if we can connect. If we can just put this puzzle together as fathers and as parents and as community leaders and organize, if we can just put this puzzle together, it's almost like you don't need like one person to, it's like everybody's waiting for this, like, this everything to change the world. And it's like, you can't wait, dude.
Yeah.
Like, just plug in. I mean, it's right there for us. Mm-hmm. We don't need one grand leader to come back and take it. It's like, that's not the deal. The deal is, let's get together. Let's do great work. And let's put ourselves back on the map here. I mean, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. We wait for somebody to part the seas for us, not realizing that we can build a boat, together. If we come together and make this thing what it needs to be, I mean, the sky's the limit. And I want to start it here in Orlando, just because Orlando, this is where I come to find my home, and I invested in Orlando. I did a Leadership Orlando course here, and it just kind of gives you an idea of what Orlando has to offer, and it is amazing. We're in a great region, super region between the Cape and then Tampa, and we're right here in the middle. We have a tremendous opportunity to have impact in our country and in our world. So why not start here?
Dude, I'm inspired. I'm gonna send you after this. I'm gonna send you my mission statement, because it's like Orlando's the place to start. We'll start here, and then we build it from there. Man, good stuff. I appreciate it. Why don't you tell people where they can find you if they want to help with your vision, if they want to connect with you, if they feel like they have something that they could offer you? Why don't you tell them how they can connect with you and how we can make some things happen?
Absolutely. If just email me, Brandon Acosta @me.com. That's my personal email, and then I have email for Modern Dad. It's Brandon at moderndadventure, or I'm sorry, moderndad enterprises.com. So Brandon at moderndad.enterprises.com or just Brandon Acosta.
Yeah, I plan to be to do whatever I can to contribute, and you just like let me know anything I can do to help you launch. And dude, let's do some things together, man.
Absolutely. Look forward to it, man. Definitely.
Awesome, Brandon. Thank you so much for your time. We are going to let you go for today, but I hope you can come back to Kick-Ass Dad again and hang with us.
Look forward to it. Absolutely.
You got a lot to offer, man. Your insight has been highly valuable, so thank you so much for that.
That's great. It's another badge of honor I like to say I have now is being a kick-ass dad. That's all right.
That's it. Hell yeah. All right, man. Thanks, Brandon. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay.